guys, and welcome back. So last week we discussed the notification for the upcoming Haryana Judiciary exam. You guys really loved that video, so we listened, and this week we will be dissecting and analyzing the Haryana PT paper for the last exam. If you don't know the notification video I'm talking about, then we discussed the skeleton and everything that you need to know in the notification about the Haryana Judiciary exam, and I will link that on your screen. So watch that and then watch this. Today we will be discussing the PT paper of Haryana Judiciary. Last week we discussed that it has 125 questions. Today I will try and discuss at least half of it, which is about 75 questions from law, and I'll also show you some of the GK questions. When we discuss, analyze and dissect the PT paper of Haryana Judiciary, you will see that there are questions which fall in only a couple of categories. There's nothing beyond that. Mostly the questions are Bare Act based. That is, if you've done the Bare Act well, you should be able to answer them. Then there are also some case law based questions which are not directly from the sections of the Bare Act but are based in interpretation and case laws. Those are relatively less than the Bare Act based questions. Then there are some number based questions which include sections, punishments, etc., other kind of numbers, in which they will give you 4 options and all 4 of them will be numbers, and you have to select the correct one. So which section says so and so, what is the punishment in so and so section, what is the time limit in so and so section. So these questions will have numbers as the answers, and you will have to tick on the correct option. These are a speciality of states like Haryana. These kind of number based questions don't usually come in Delhi, but in Haryana they ask these kind of questions often, which is why you have to do your Bare Acts well. These numbers come from Bare Acts only, but they are a sort of subcategory from the Bare Act based questions. However, over here I am showing them as a separate category altogether. So Bare Act based questions, case law based questions, and then number based questions. Then there are application based questions where you have to apply law to a certain situation. A did this to B did this to C, what is the offense they committed, any other question in which you have to apply the law to a certain situation. And after that there are GK questions. GK questions can fall into current category, which is what is important right now, what you see in the newspapers and monthly magazines, and then static category. These are the only categories from which the questions will come. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing outside of this. If you do these sources of the questions well, if you do the Bare Acts, case laws, number based question, application, GK based, you understand these sources and you prepare from these sources well, there is nothing that you cannot do. Of course, there are 1 or 2 oddball questions which they intend that no one should be able to answer. You cannot prepare for them, so don't worry. There will always be 1 or 2 questions which are not from any of the books, from any of the GK books that you did, from any of the law books that you did, from any of the MCQ books. There will be 1 or 2 those questions, but they intend for no one to get those, so don't worry about them, don't panic about them. As long as you can do the majority of them, it's alright. 1 or 2 oddball questions, do not worry. And the reason I'm saying is that everybody writes to us saying, oh my god, the notification is out, how do we do it, it is so tough. It is tough, and I'm not denying it, but it is doable. If you analyze, understand, dissect the paper well, see where the questions come from, prepare those sources well, there is nothing that you cannot do in the paper. It is not a paper that will fall through the heavens or the clouds. It is an absolutely doable paper. And after we discuss the PT paper today, you should be able to understand how the paper is formulated, what is the makeup of the paper, and how you can ace it. So we will be discussing the basics on how you can clear. Now you may ask, what are these basics? So the basics for every PT paper is for you to understand that what is the makeup of the paper. what constitutes the paper, what are the sub elements in the paper, because once you understand what are the categories or the sub elements of the paper, then you can prepare for those categories. Once you're prepared for them, then the questions will be from those categories, right? So you understand the makeup of the paper. In addition to understanding the makeup and the sources from where they get the questions, you also have to know from where to study, time management, negative marking, other miscellaneous things like these. For those other miscellaneous things, I won't be going into them in today's video because we already have videos for that. We have a PT exam video in our premium content which is available individually. It is also a part of the foundation course. So if you get the foundation course, you get all 10 items including the PT video, or the PT video is also available individually if you don't want the foundation course. So negative marking, time management, where to study, all of those questions I will not be delving into today. Today we will be seeing the makeup of the paper, and these are the basics that you should know in order to clear the PT. So without any further delay, let's just get into it. On your screen, you can see the Haryana Judicial Services PT paper of 2014, and this is the Series B paper. The first question says the cardinal principle of criminal law, nullum crimen nulla pena sine lege, means. So it is a Latin phrase, and the answer to that is A. No crime or punishment can exist without a pre-existing penal law. That's the answer. And this question is phrase. Latin phrases or general legal phrases you have to do. We have a lot of legal phrases in the ASAP Laws English book as well, and we've patched them up. Or you can also do additional phrases in addition to that if you want, but it's too much preparing for one question. So as long as you do the ASAP Law English book legal phrases, the Latin phrases that we've patched up, it should be good enough, because you won't have a lot of questions on these phrases, just 1 or 2 questions maximum. But do the phrases, the Latin phrases from the ASAP Law English book, do that for sure. Then the second question is the doctrine of necessity has been elaborated in which landmark case? In this the answer is C, which is R versus Dudley and Stephens. This is a case law based questions. I told you before the start of the video there are a couple of categories: Bare Act based, case law based. This is a case law based question. If you've done your law, you should be able to answer it. So do your case laws. All the landmark judgments. This is why we say that all your law syllabus should be finished once before the PT. So you can't just do Bare Acts and go into PT and hope that after PT I will do the case laws and all the law and interpretation. That is not ideal. We also have an ASAP Law video on exceptions under IPC, and we've discussed this case. I will link it on your screen. Whenever we do law videos, we do them so once you do the videos, you really almost don't have to open any book. You don't need any support or addition. It will clarify all your basics, and we try and discuss all the landmark judgments. So whenever we do law videos, we try and make sure that after this you don't even have to go anywhere else for the concept. And the ASAP Law video that I'm talking about, we discussed this case. So I will link that on your screen. And this is a case law based question. The third question says that in his will, Mr. Y wrote, I intend my property to be equally divided between my 3 children A, S and H. A dishonestly scratched out the name of H, intending that it may be believed that the whole of the property was left to be divided between H and himself alone. A is guilty of what section? So this is a Bare Act based section. This is directly from an illustration of section 464. When you do Bare Acts, it's important that you do the illustrations as well, because a lot of times they will pick the questions directly from the illustrations. The answer to this is B, which is forgery. So if you've done the Bare Act and you know the section, you've seen the illustration, you see this in the exam, you will be able to solve it. So case laws, Bare Act. Let's take a look at the next question. The general rule of succession in case of female Hindus have been laid down in which section? The answer is C. Now this is one of the bare act based number question where they will give you 4 options and all 4 of them will be numbers. You have to take the correct one. This is why again you have to do the bare acts well. If you've done the bare acts, you will be able to answer this. Now the reason I'm telling you the source of each question is so you can understand that there are only couple of sources. It's not too much. It is definite, it is finite, it is not infinite. That there are so many things I have to do. You only have to do a couple of sources, 4 or 5 of them. You do those well, every question in the paper you will know. So this is why I will discuss the source of each question. So it will be consolidated in your mind that these are the sources for all the questions and I have to do these sources well. Now question 5. Limitation period for initiating action where no period of limitation is prescribed. The answer is A, 3 years from the date on which the right to apply accrues. This is also a bare act based question, as you can see. You know the bare act, you know this question. Question 6 again is a bare act based question. It says according to Article 277, every High Court shall have dash over all courts and tribunals. Supervision, overview, superintendence, none of the above. So it will have superintendence. You know the bare act, you've seen the bare act, you will know this answer. So do the bare acts well. Question 7 is again a bare act based question. According to Article 233, a district judge is appointed by whom? The answer is governor. It is again a number based bare act question. Courts having jurisdiction to try all suits of civil nature except suits the cognizance of which is either expressly or impliedly barred is given in what section. So you will have to take the correct number. These number based questions are very specific to Haryana. They have a tendency to ask these, what is the section number, what is the punishment period, so on and so forth. So they will ask you these number based questions. Again you can see question 9 is also a number based question, which asks you to mark the section number for constructive res judicata. The answer for that is D. Then question 10 is again a bare act based question. The court under section 89(1) can refer the dispute to mediation, arbitration, conciliation, all of the above. So if you've read section 89, you should be able to answer this within 10 seconds flat. And the reason I'm saying 10 seconds is because we've already discussed the time management strategy in the PT video from the premium content. Now question 11 says, Raju dies leaving behind Ravi and a married daughter. A suit filed by Raju after his death can be continued by who? So the answer is Ravi and Kavita. Now these are one of the application based questions. We discussed the categories: case law based, bare act based, application. Here you have to apply your mind and the section to the situation given to you. In this case, if you know the sections, you understand them, you will be able to solve them easily. Even if, let's say, you didn't know the section, logic applies here, and once Raju dies leaving behind the son and a daughter, only son and daughter who are the legal representatives should be able to take the case forward, not the husband of the daughter, because husband is not a legal representative. So a lot of times, even if you don't know the section number, you can just use logic and come to the most sane possible solution. Now section 12. Question 12 says, which section of CRPC provides for confirmation by the High Court of order of death sentence? Now the answer is 366. It is another number based bare act question. So do the bare acts, you should be good to go. Question 13 says, when the High Court or session is called to examine the record of any proceedings before an inferior criminal court, it is known as revision. Now this is given in section 397. So if you've done the bare act, you would know it. Question 14 says, a chief judicial magistrate may pass a sentence. Now this is the period of the sentence. And this is, the answer to this is B, sentence of imprisonment not exceeding 7 years. This is given in section 29(1) of the CRPC. Again, one of the bare act based number questions. So you've done the bare act, you should know them. I keep repeating this because I want you to understand that the paper will be formulated only from a couple of sources. And if you've done those sources, you should be golden in the paper. Now question 15 says, application for anticipatory bail made before which court? You've done the bare act, you should know it, that it's before both A and B court. We also have a video on anticipatory bail, which you guys love, and I will link that also on your screen. Then question 16 says Surjit meets Gopi high road, shows a pistol, demands Gopi to give the purse. Gopi in consequence surrenders his purse. What offense has Surjit committed? This is an application based question. Again, just a couple of categories: Bare Act, application, case law, numbers, and GK. That's all. That's all the categories that you need to do. This is an application based question. And the answer to this is D, robbery. Section 390 IPC provides for this. And there is also fear of instant hurt. So it is not extortion. It is not theft. It is not dacoity. It is robbery. Then question 17 says acid attack falls under what section? Another number-based Bare Act question. Now you can see that there are only certain sources. And this was added by Criminal Law Amendment of 2013. The answer is C, 326A. Anything that was added by a recent amendment, Criminal Law Amendment or the Indian Evidence Act Amendment, anything that was added by amendment recently, do those really well because they love to ask those questions, especially the Criminal Law Amendment of 2013. Feel free to take these notes while you're watching this video, or you can watch this video repeatedly whenever you want so you can remember the points that I'm giving you as we're going through the question paper. Now question 18 says, acts against which the right of private defense is not available have been laid down with section. Number-based Bare Act question. 4 types of restriction given in section 99. You know the Bare Act, you know this. Then question 19 says, A finds valuable ring on the road not knowing to whom it belongs. He sells it immediately without making an attempt to find the owner. He is committed what? Theft, dishonest misappropriation, criminal breach of trust. So over here, the answer is B. It is again Bare Act based, dishonest misappropriation of property, which is given in section 403. Over here, you can also use logic that he found this ring and he did not give notice to anybody. He just kept the ring and he sold it. So he's not taken it out of anybody's possession, which is an essential for theft. So this is not theft. There was no entrustment of property to him. Nobody gave him the property and said, please keep this safely. So there is no criminal breach of trust. So logically, the only answer left is dishonest misappropriation of property. He found it and he misappropriated the property. So you can apply logic, like I was telling you before. In some cases, just by way of elimination, you can come to the right answer. But if you know the Bare Act, then this should not take you more than 20 seconds. Now question 20 says, under Hindu Minority Guardianship Act, the custody of minor who has not completed the age of dash years shall be with the mother. So the answer to this is 5. It is given in section 6 clause A of the Hindu Minority Guardianship Act. It's a number-based Bare Act question. You know the Bare Act, you know this. The period of limitation for review of judgment. Another number-based question. The answer to that is A, 30 days. Question 22, where the price of goods under contract is to be fixed by valuation of a third party who fails to fix the valuation but goods are supplied to the buyer under section 10 of the Sale of Goods Act, the buyer is liable to pay the reasonable price of goods. That is option A. Now this is clearly a Bare Act based question. They even mention the section in. So if you've done section 10, you should be able to answer it. So far we've learned that if you know the Bare Act really well, you've done the number-based questions, and you apply a little bit of logic, you should be able to do the application-based questions as well very easily because they're very rudimentary. Nothing complicated, not half a page long question. You don't have to write anything, no explanation. Very basic application-based questions. So question 23 says limitation period for filing a suit by a person dispossessed of immovable property. The answer to that is A, within 6 months. Again, Bare Act based. You've read the section, you should know this at the tips of your finger. Question 24. Which provision of the Code of Civil Procedure deals with the right to lodge a caveat? We already have a video on caveat. We've dealt with this. If you've seen this video or you've read the Bare Act, you should know it's section 148A of the CPC. Number-based Bare Act questions standard. Do the Bare Act, every question is doable. Then question 25, consequence of non-compliance with the order to answer interrogatories for the discovery or inspection of documents have been dealt with. Which order? So you give order, the answer to that is C, order 11, rule 21. Sometimes even if you don't know the numbers or you don't know the Bare Act based questions, it's okay. As long as you know the majority and you're above the cutoff, Your point is not to finish each and every question or to top. Your point is to clear the PT so you get a chance to be able to write the mains. And how to know what marks you need, how much you need, how many questions you should do, what to do in the paper, all of that we've discussed in the PT video from our premium content. Over there we talk about this in detail, that don't get scared if you don't know a couple of questions. It's alright. How many to do, what to do, negative marking, all of that we've discussed there. Question 26 says, under section 27 of Indian Contract Act, which of the following relation an agreement in restraint of trade is valid? So section 27 says sale of goodwill. In that case, an agreement in restraint of trade is valid if you've sold your goodwill to someone else. So if you've read the Bear Act, you should know that. Question number 27, Bear Act based. In which of the following circumstances surety stands discharged? A, B, C, both. So it is C, in which is A and B both. By release or discharge and by variance. In both cases, this is a standard Bear Act based question. Question 28 is an application based question. It says A is tried for the murder of B by poison. The fact that before the death of B, A procured poison similar to that to which was administered to B, whether it is relevant, partly relevant, not relevant, neither relevant nor irrelevant. So in this case, the answer is A, it is relevant. It is relevant because section 8 says that anything that is a part of the preparation is relevant evidence for the purposes of the trial. Even if, let's say, for the sake of argument, you say that you did not know section 8. Logic also says that if he procured this poison and B died of this poison and A is being tried for it, it should be a relevant fact by logic that he bought this poison. Any judge should know this fact. So the evidence is relevant. Even if sometimes you don't know the section, you can apply logic. But in this case, it is a clear-cut thing which is provided in section 8 that preparation, anything which is done for preparation of the crime is a part of the evidence, it's relevant. Section 8 of Indian Evidence Act. Then question 29, dumb witnesses may give his evidence by writing or signs in open court and it shall be treated as B, oral evidence. Again, Bear Act based standard. Question 30, in which section of Indian Evidence Act special provision is mentioned regarding evidence related to electronic evidence? The answer is B, section 65A, number based Bear Act question. It was added by amendment of 2000. They love anything that is added by amendment. Anything that is added by amendment, do it well. Criminal Law Amendment, Indian Evidence Act Amendment, anything that was added by amendment, do it well. There is definitely going to be a question in the PT on it. Then question 31, the case of Pakala Narayan Swamy versus Emperor relates to dying declaration. We also have a dying declaration video. We talked about the case. You can watch it. This is a case law based question. Very basic, landmark case. So even in the case law based questions, they will not ask you random, not important cases. They will only ask you landmark cases in the case law based questions. Under section 25 of the Indian Partnership Act, the partners are responsible, joint and several. They have both joint and several responsibility. Again, Bear Act based question. You know the Bear Act, you should know this. Question 33. Which statement is correct? A partnership firm is not a distinct legal entity from its partners. That is C. It's a general principle of law. If you've done Partnership Act, even if you know the basics, you should know that. That a partnership firm is not a distinct legal entity. It is not a juristic person. It is not a distinct legal entity. Then question 34, in which of the following cases Privy Council made a distinction between common intention, similar intention? So again, case law based question, only landmark cases. Now, question 35, criminal breach of trust deals with what? Stolen property, illegally acquired property, movable property. The answer to that is B, entrusted property. Criminal breach of trust will only happen when someone entrusts you with the property. Again, Bear Act based, very basic question, should not take you more than 10 seconds to tick the right answer. Section 405 IPC. Then question 36 says that section 173 clause 8 of the Code of Criminal Procedure deals with what? This is a Bear Act plus case law based question, because 173.8, if you've read, you should know this, but also there's a Supreme Court case on it. And 173 clause 8 deals with further investigation. Not fresh or reinvestigation, but further investigation. Now 37 says form number 32 of the second schedule of CRPC provides the format for what? The answer to this is A, charges. I know you might get a little panic when you see this question, because it's not a standard question. People don't usually do the forms given in the schedules of CRPC. This is one of those oddball questions that you cannot prepare for. You can take a look at the schedules. If you can do them very well, even if you didn't know, a couple of questions will be there which you can't do. Don't worry too much about it. Don't panic. They're just meant to be there. As long as you know the majority of them, you've done the sources well, you should be well above the cutoff. Don't sweat too much over one or two oddball questions. Question 38 says, according to the Constitution of India, which of the following are fundamental? The answer is clearly C, directive principles of state policy. And this is one of those questions which is in every MCQ book on Constitution. MCQ books help a lot with PT papers. Once you've done the bare acts, do the MCQ books. Which ones to do, how to do them, we've discussed in the PT video from the premium content. Then question 39 says, which one of the following schedules of the Constitution contains provisions regarding anti-defection? 10th schedule, very famous schedule. All the Constitution schedules, you should know which schedule deals with what item. So again, bare act based question. You've done the bare act, you should know it. Question 40, power of Supreme Court to decide the disputes between center and state falls under. The answer is C, original jurisdiction. Bare act based standard. 41, an offer was sent by post, acceptor wrote accepted on the letter, put it in the drawer and forgot about it. Now this is an application based question. So if you know the sections, you should be able to say that the answer is D, because the acceptance was never communicated. Then question 42 says, the execution of a document may be presumed if the document is to be old. The answer to this is C, 30 years. It is again from Bare Act. Question 43, the word probate as used in section 41 of the Indian Evidence Act. Now this one was deleted, and then 44 was also deleted, so we will not be discussing those. Question 45 says, H takes property belonging to S out of possession of S in good faith, believing at the time when he takes it that the property belongs to himself. Later on, realizing his mistake, H continues to appropriate the property for his own use. What offense is he committed? A, robbery, B, criminal breach of trust, misappropriation, or cheating. So he has committed application based question. If you know the sections, you understand the basics of these sections, you should be able to answer it. That he has not committed theft because he took it out in good faith. He took it out of the possession, but he took it out in good faith, believing it to be his own property. So there is no theft here. There is also the point that he continues to appropriate the property. This is from illustration A of section 403. So the answer to this is criminal misappropriation. Which of the following section deals with a specific performance? The answer is C, number based question. 48 is also number based. 49 is also number based. You just have to tick on the correct section. So if you know the Bare Act, you know these number based questions. Then question 50, general power of transferring suits under section 24 of CPC lies with High Court and District Court. Bare Act based question. Question 51, where a decree is sent to a court in another state for execution, it has to be sent by the court which passed the decree. Very basic Bare Act based question. You know the Bare Act, you should know this. 52, when a decree is passed against the Union of India, execution shall not be issued unless it remains unsatisfied for a period of dash months. The answer is C, 3 months. Bare Act based standard question. Question 53 is a number-based question. You have to select the correct section number for interpleader suits. The answer is 88. You know the Bare Act, you should know it. Question 54 is also number-based. You have to select the correct section numbers for revision, review, and reference. The answer is A. 55 is also a Bare Act based. Which provision of CRPC resembles the writ of habeas corpus? The answer is section 97, which is the option B, because that deals with wrongful confinement. Question 56. According to Order 2, Rule 3, a plaintiff may unite in the same suit several dash against the same defendant. So the answer is causes of action, which is option C. It is also a Bare Act based question. So if you've done the Bare Act, you should know it. 57. Provision of section 10 is mandatory. Option B, Bare Act based question. 58 is a number based question. Provide the section for general power to amend any error or defect. Then question 59 is which provision deals with the determination of questions related to discharge satisfaction. This is section 47 of CPC. Option C, again, number based Bare Act questions. Majority of the questions you will see, if you've done the Bare Act, you should be able to answer in the PT. Bare Acts are very important. Then question 60, who may record a confessional statement? Under CRPC, the answer to this is D, any judicial magistrate. I'm sorry, the question is slightly cut off at the top. But again, you can see the point of it is that it is a Bare Act based question. We are seeing the sources of the question, so you understand from where you have to study and how you have to study for the PT. Question 61 is what is the time limit in section 468 CRPC for taking cognizance in case of defamation? The time limit is 3 years. Again, Bare Act based question. You've done the Bare Act, you should know it. 62, permission to investigate into non-cognizable offence can be granted by magistrate having jurisdiction to try the case. Bare Act based question again. Nothing too complicated, not too much to apply mind, just you know the Bare Acts, you should be able to answer these. Offences of IPC other than the mentioned in section 320 are not compoundable. Bare Act based question, because 320 provides all the offences which are compoundable and categorically states nothing apart from these offences are compoundable. Then question 64, the compensation to the victim under 357 can be given by the trial court, appellate, divisional court, any of the above. Bare Act based question 357. Then question 65, which is the following is not a source of law. It's from Indian Evidence Act. Usage is not a source of law. Also logically, we all know that custom, legislation, judicial decision are. Then 66A puts his hand in the pocket of B for stealing money, but pocket was empty. What is he guilty of? This is a commonly asked question, and in this case, A is guilty of no offense, because for theft, taking was not completed. So when it is not being taken out of possession, there is no theft. So it is no offense. It is an application based question, commonly asked. It's in all the MCQ books as well. Then question 68. Question 68, a voluntary gift without consideration of property or the substance of the thing by one person to another as to the constitute. The donee, the proprietor of the subject of the gift is known as. This question is not very well formulated English wise, but I think what they mean to ask is what is the gift under Muslim law. So the answer to that is A, hiba. Because there are no Bare Acts in Muslim law, you need to know the basics. If you know the basics of Muslim law, this is a very basic fundamental question as to what is gift in Muslim law. Then question 69 says divorce by mutual consent provided in which section? Simple number based Bare Act question. We also have an ASAP law video on divorce by mutual consent. Again, another question number 70. As a general rule, a petition for dissolution of Hindu marriage cannot be presented within dash 1 year of marriage, which is option B. Number based Bare Act question. You should watch the ASAP law video which deals with divorce by mutual consent and divorce. Family law videos, you can go to the playlist section and you can check out the family law videos there. Then question 71 under section 24, Punjab Courts Act dash will be the principal civil court of original jurisdiction. This is the district court. This is one of the questions from local law. They don't ask a lot of questions from local law, but there will be 2 to 3 questions. And you should definitely do the Bare Acts from local law even if you don't do anything else for the PT. Then question 72. Section 6 Limitation Act is available to A, plaintiffs. So you can see Bare Act based question again. Then 73, A stayed in a hotel for 1 week, organized a party, the bill of which amounted 40,000. He vacated the room and settled his bill except the bill of the party. B can sue A for the payment within The answer to that is 3 years from 1/11/2014. That is the day on which he organized the party. Limitation Act, this is an application based question. If you have read the Limitation Act, you should be able to answer it. Even if you can't, don't worry too much about it. I know Limitation Act based application questions can be slightly confusing. We have spoken about the margin of error, or how many questions you might not be able to get, or how many you might get wrong, in the PT video that we have on our online store. And over there we explain how the margin of error works. So don't worry too much if a couple of questions you get wrong or a couple of questions you don't know. As long as you can do the majority and you know the Bare Act, case laws, number based questions, GK based questions, all of the standard sources. According to Section 7 of Registration Act, the state government shall establish in every dash an office to be styled as the Office of Registrar. The answer is B. Again, Bare Act based question. Then question 75, under Sale of Goods Act, delivery can be symbolic, actual, constructive, all of the above. So the answer is all of the above. Again, Bare Act based question. Now I've discussed almost half the paper and showed you all the law questions that are there. The rest of the paper also you can go through and see that all of them are from the standard sources we discussed. If you've done those sources well, you should be golden in the paper. You should know every answer. I will also show you a couple of GK questions now so you can see, because we've seen a lot of Bare Act, case law, application based, number based question, but so far we've not seen any GK questions. So let me show you a couple of GK questions as well. Question 90. The first non-tribal chief minister of Jharkhand is. The answer to this is C. Raghubar Das. Now this is again one of those oddball questions. Usually people know chief ministers, they know the firsts, they know, but they might not know the first non-tribal chief minister of Jharkhand. It's an oddball question. Don't worry too much about it. If you know the answer, great. If you don't, remember there will always be certain oddball questions that you cannot prepare for, which are not in any of the books or any of the study material. Then question 91, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya was the founder of what? This is Banaras Hindu University. GK question. This is static GK, not current GK. It is static GK. Then question 92, Kaushalya Dam is located on the river Kaushalya. GK static, near Pinjore. Now, this is important for you to see, because in Haryana, the GK questions they ask a lot of times are Haryana specific, like the state bird for Haryana, or the dams in Haryana, first chief minister of Haryana, or the chief justice of Punjab and Haryana court. So some of the GK static questions they ask will be Haryana specific. So if you're taking the Haryana exam, do the Haryana specific GK as well, from any of the standard sources, but do the Haryana specific GK as well, because that might not be in any of the standard GK books and you might have to do a little bit of research for that. Question 93, method of proportional representation. The answer is president. You can also use logic here, because you know prime minister is by general elections. There is no proportional representation in those elections. Governor, there is no proportional representation. Chief Justice of India, there is no proportional representation. So the answer is president. Then question 94, under Haryana Urban Control Rent Eviction Act, provisions of fair rent have been made in which section? Now this is, I'm showing you because it's another local law question. There will be 2 to 3 local law questions, but they will only be from the Bare Acts. So you do the Bare Acts definitely for the local laws, the Rent Control and the Punjab Courts Act. Then another GK question is question number 97. Who is the Chief Law Officer of India? The answer is Attorney General. It is logical. You know basic GK and polity. You should be able to answer it. It's also clearly given in the ASAP Law GK book. And that has all of these polity based questions. We've patched them up. Then question 98. Who is the architect of Constitution of India? It's so basic. You should be able to tell this in your sleep. B.R. Ambedkar. Then who among the following won Dada Saheb Phalke Award? They deleted this question. Then question 100. In the case of Mohidi Bibi versus Armodash Ghosh, who was the defendant? It was Brahmodat. This is a case law based question. We have an ASAP law video on this topic, and in that also we clearly mentioned Brahmodat. So if you have a basic understanding of the case laws and the law on the section, you should be able to answer it. Another GK question that I can see is question 112. The system of dual citizenship exists in USA. Another GK question 113. Which of the following rivers flows through state of Haryana? As I was telling you, they will ask you Haryana specific GK. So do Haryana specific GK. Or for whatever specific state you're going for, do the GK for that state, in addition to the general static GK. The answer to this is B, Yamuna. Then question 114. Who among the following longest serving Chief Justice? Answer is Y.V. Chandrachud. It's also in the ASAP Law GK book. Who among the following is the first Chief Justice of Punjab High Court? The answer to this is B. Then another local law question is 117. It's also a Bare Act based question from Punjab Courts Act. So now we have seen case law based questions, we have seen Bare Act based questions, we have seen number based, GK based question. And the conclusion that we get is that there are only couple of sources from which they will formulate the paper. If you do these sources well, there is no question in the PT paper that you cannot handle or you won't know the answer to. You do the Bare Acts, GK, case laws, numbers, application based questions, you should be good to go. There will always be a couple of oddball questions. They intend for them to be oddball. They intend that no one knows it, because then it helps with the cutoffs. So don't worry a lot about these one or two oddball questions. If you've done the sources that we've discussed, there is nothing from outside of these sources. The paper is doable, it is clearable. Don't be scared. Do the sources we discussed. Plus also have an idea about how you will do the time management, all the strategies for PT, and how to handle negative marking, all the strategies, negative marking, all of those it's already in the PT video, so I'm not going to make another video on that. But you have to know those as well, in addition to doing the sources for the PT paper. The sources, the makeup of the PT paper we've discussed today. Then everything else like time management, negative marking is already there in the PT video. You have all of this information. The paper is not going to be out of this world. It's a standard paper from standard sources to those sources. There's no big deal. You can clear the paper. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, leave it in the comments, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified of new videos.